Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Jeremy Adams, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
no evil shall escape my sight,
but those who worship evil's might.
Beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, Master of the Core it is.
I am Will. Hey, everyone.
Not always the master of picking a good story, but we're going to let it go.
Straight up failed this time.
So, probably disappointing.
I have to do it publicly. You were right, Phil. You were right.
There's a new drop is born. Yes. So, for those probably disappointing no one, we'll talk a little bit of Threshold at the end, but there's some Green Lantern news, so stick with that for a while.
Yeah, good. I mean, I think we've hit. I think Threshold is the new
bottom.
The new bottom. I think we've hit bottom. Don't you think?
It's the sub basement, man.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's the creators involved are all good. It's just that it's so bleak. I mean, so bleak. Anyway, let's talk about some good stuff.
New 52.
Somebody sent me a link to a Bleeding Cool story about new casting on the Lantern show.
Yes. We have. It's very interesting. Well, I sent you two links. I forget. Was there one they said there was an actor, but they don't know who they're playing. But that second one, yeah, they definitely.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's father.
Yes. Sherman.
Yeah.
Sherman Augustus. Yes. And it looks like if that's a picture of him on the left. So, or I was gonna say maybe that's from another movie. I was gonna say, is he gonna be like a military man? But that might be from something else.
Well, I think he is going to be a military man because I think they're trying. If I remember the article right, they're going to try to play off John against him being, a soldier, but also an artist because he's an architect, right? Did I read that right?
I think so. Yeah. That would be very interesting. As long as the architect thing's in there somewhere, I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean, so. I think I know this, and maybe I don't. So I'm just going to straight up ask. The whole John being a Marine, that was whole cloth from the Justice League Unlimited series, right? The animated series. Because that was never until he didn't have a military angle until really.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was with the end of that animated, like the Justice League animated series, and then they kind of slowly started introducing elements of it into the
stuff.
comic.
Yeah, because they brought it in. I think during Kyle's run when John was showing up as a Dark Star.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when he woke up and his ring was gone.
Yeah, and his wife and everybody from all of the Mosaic cities.
Yeah. Missed the whole big fight with Hal.
Yeah. At least he woke up before Cobb blew up the planet, so there's that, right?
Oh. You mean when Hal was gonna just absorb the energy from what was left of Oa and rewrite time? Yeah.
But Kyle totally blew up the planet. Yeah. So It's really interesting to me that, the inspiration of the character for Justice League Unlimited was John as a Green Lantern, and yet they took that, for him having, being a Marine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that was because it went on so long, they pulled that back into the comics. So, I mean, which really changes the character, It really does. Because that's not who he was, since his introduction back in the 70s, right? Over 50 years ago at this point. So,
Yeah, because originally when he showed up, he was like all about, he was the angry man. He was kind of like down on authority, right? So
yeah.
introducing him in the military really, it's kind of going the other direction.
Yeah, and then I feel like Rebirth really crystallized that because he was a Marine, Hal was a flyboy, and they even meet up at in a bar fight of all things. We get to see that during Secret Origin, right?
Yeah, what in the name of Guy Gardner is that?
Exactly. So, I mean, it really, from Rebirth on, I think it became, a core personality trait that almost overshadowed everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, we've talked about the militarization of the Green Lantern Corps and all those things that, we're not too fond of, but I don't know if that's a positive change for John. And okay, I'm gonna say something potentially stupid, because it's a day that ends in Y and I'm talking. Anyway,
Oh
but
boy, kids, here we go.
but I don't know that the Jeffrey Thorne run really utilized John's military background much at all, if any, did it?
I'm trying to remember unless there was like a quick, like a quick mention of it or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't.
I mean, I feel like that was really downplayed. So,
Yeah.
yay for that. I mean, there's lots of other things that we could talk about, but
I don't know if it's
yeah.
just like writer's choice, whether they focus on
Mhm.
that or the architect thing. I mean, I like the architect thing. It goes well with, making constructs. And again, like
Yeah.
we're saying, we don't like, when the Green Lantern Corps is all militarized. But so yeah, if you're picking somebody from one, branch of the service, it just seems like you're just militarizing the Green Lantern Corps.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It did really get played up, in the lead up, post Rebirth through, Jeff Johns into his run.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of John's defining characteristic, which it feels overly simplistic to me, I mean, but hey, what are we going to do about it? You know, have him fall asleep again and, things change.
Uh,
I mean, I know we say a lot about he who shall not be named.
mhm.
Um, but Mosaic was a really interesting, sometimes frustrating, but complex series,
And again, that was one of the early examples. I think it's just, I think I've said it before, where it's like we always give John Stewart good stuff, but he never keeps it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he became a guardian at that point, and
Mhm.
he slept that off apparently.
Well, he had a wife. He had a wife. She was killed. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a guardian. We just kind of ignored that for like 30 years.
And then he was a Dark Star, and then they got totally nuked.
Then he was in a wheelchair for. Well, that's not good, but I mean, yeah, they
Yeah.
put him in a wheelchair for a while. Yeah.
And then he got a ring back while Kyle was gone, so he was the Green Lantern on the Justice League. So really, I guess that's.
Yeah,
I haven't.
but remember, before he first got the ring back, then and then we had to have those creepy scenes with like Fatality, like rubbing up on him and stuff.
Yeah, and then that only gets weirder in the
Mhm.
new 52, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I'm kind of curious. Did you read the Justice League while he's been I mean, because that was mainly he would, I assume, I don't know this. I assume that, while Kyle was gone, he was the one that was pretty much appearing in the Justice League book with
Yeah.
everybody. So that would be where most of, anything going on with him would have been happening, right? Um,
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there were any big like character growth moments. There wasn't anything major that happened, but
It was more like he was just the Green Lantern there, and maybe he got some personalization, but any Green Lantern would have worked, right?
for the most part, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, yeah, I want to see how they do this. I just hope they do it right. I really, really hope they do it right. You know?
Yes, yes, please. I mean, there's not that many positive examples of Green Lantern. There's the animated series, and then John wasn't bad in the Justice League animated series, but besides those, I mean, there's not a lot of good examples. So, do a half decent job on this television show. People will be singing your praise.
Yeah. Exactly. The bar is low. I
Mm.
mean, there was the Tales of the Green Lantern Corps movie,
Yes,
right? Whatever,
yes.
whatever that was. Emerald Knights, I think was what it was. Was that Emerald Knights?
I think so. Yeah, there's what was our first flight, and then was it Emerald Knights? Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the bad one.
John Stewart. Yeah, and yeah, the one Bill joined us for. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, where they gave him Kyle's origin and Kyle's nowhere to be found. And then, of course, yeah,
How?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a whole lot of something. A whole lot of something. Yeah. Uh, and the newer animated stuff versus the Batman animated series, the Superman, that DC animated universe stuff. The new stuff, I don't know, the animation, the designs, it just looks
Yeah,
it looks off to me. And that's maybe just because I'm an old guy, but yeah.
yeah, they're doing another one of those weird Batman Ninja Fit movies, and yeah, no.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it feels like they're going to focus on John, which I think is fine.
Mhm.
You know, Hal's going to be there as you know, the old hand, I guess, at this point, who's about ready to retire. Again, I think my concern comes from the fact that if Hal's about ready to retire, what are the defining what are the defining stories of Green Lantern, right?
Mhm.
Um, Secret Origin. I mean, I know some people prefer Emerald Dawn over Secret Origin, but I like Secret Origin a lot better. I feel like it does a better job of really integrating Hal's origin into the whole post rebirth tapestry that is the Green Lantern mythology. Um, Rebirth's important. Secret Origin. This little thing called Sinestro Corps War.
Mhm.
Blackest Night.
Well, see, that's the weird thing about these movies and stuff. It's like, yeah, or did this all these events already happen? Did some happen? So it's like, and then Hal's at the end of his career, and he's just meeting John. I guess he knows Guy, but if we have anybody else like Kyle come along, Hal's probably not going to even know him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing that kind of picking and choosing how they've set this up, John is new at this point. Hal's at the end of his career. Guy's around. I mean, it feels like they're pulling Hal and Guy from, 1988, 89, 1990 comics, right? Emerald, Volume 3 for Hal and Justice League International for Guy. And John from Green Lantern 85, from 1970, which, is cool, but as a fan of Green Lantern, there are a lot of important characters that they're going to have to introduce in either a different way or just not introduced. Kyle being, one of the probably most important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simon, Jess, Joe, they're important too. But I feel like that they can kind of be brought in. I mean, Jess can obviously be brought in a different way because that's the way she was brought in, most recently was, via the Justice League and Earth 2 and all that fun stuff. But Kyle, the crux of Kyle's character is that he's the torchbearer, right? He is the one that kept it alive when there was nobody else. So, I mean, it's possible that they're setting things up so that we're going to get an Emerald Twilight. I don't know. I mean, that's an important.
Is John going to play Kyle's part then? Yeah.
Well, and I would hope not, honestly, but because I did not like how that worked out in that movie, that animated movie, and two, I mean, it's the Four Horsemen. I mean, and it's been that way for a while.
I mean, unless they do it where, this first season of Lanterns, you get, Hal brings John in, and then, trains him and all that. No, however, whatever point in the future we do pull an Emerald Twilight and John basically brings Kyle in and becomes his teacher or whatever.
I mean, yeah, that could work too. But I still think that kind of undermines what Kyle was about, because Kyle was no training, just, hey, I'm trying to do the right thing.
You'll do.
Yeah, you'll do. Oh, but wait, I already went to Guy Gardner and John Stewart before I came to you, which I thought was horrible story choices, but whatever.
I mean, I guess maybe someone had a thought in the offices of like, well, why didn't he go to John Stewart or Guy Gardner? They're already they were proven Lanterns.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't have to. Well, there was lots of things about Emerald. So Emerald Twilight as an event is extraordinarily important. I would say, of course, my bias, and I'm sure my bias is showing. Rebirth through Blackest Night, I think, is the absolute pinnacle of Green Lantern, at least so far. I mean, no offense to Jeremy Adams, who's doing a really good job. It's just I don't think he's quite reached those heights yet. Although I do have high expectations. So, as important as I think those stories are, Emerald Twilight was hugely important for Green Lantern because it gave us Kyle and it set things up for what was to come, right? I mean, it wasn't setting things up for what was to come on purpose, but it is hugely important because of what it did for Green Lantern. It really, and I think we've talked about this before, it took Green Lantern from looking like an 80s or a late 80s comic, that look and feel, to being a modern book, of the 90s. I mean, because you can read those Kyle issues and they're fine. They're still relevant. They're still good, right? Whereas a lot of Volume 3 has an older aesthetic. I don't know if that's a fair way to say that, but that's what I'm going to go with. So, I mean, when you get right down to it, Rebirth to Blackest Night and Emerald Twilight are kind of the defining Green Lantern. I mean, you could say Showcase 22, you know, hey, it's the origin, right? Whatever. But Emerald Twilight and then the Rebirth era, Rebirth to Blackest Night, are kind of, when people are talking about, ooh, Green Lantern stories, those are the stories they're pulling from. They're talking about Rebirth. They're talking about Emerald Twilight. They're talking about Sinestro Court War. They're talking about Blackest Night. They're talking about Rage of the Red Lanterns or Agent Orange, or, you know, pick some of those other ones. Although I see some love for War of the Green Lanterns, which is still good. But honestly, I don't see a lot of love for the Interminable Rise of the Third Army. And did I say that out loud? I probably did. And Wrath of the First Lantern.
Well, 52.
Yeah, it's New 52. New 52 is whatever it touches dies. Is that?
I mean, I always hear so much love for, you know, people say, I don't know, I can't remember last time I heard this, but people saying how great New 52 was, but I never hear any conversation about, oh, you should read this story, you should read this story. It's like,
So New 52 is like literally Black Hand's hand, right?
oh,
Is that a good metaphor for it?
yes.
I mean, you know, we talked about there was a definite shift in storytelling with the New 52. You know, there was a lot higher body counts, and it felt meaner. I think it still feels meaner. I mean, to bring it back to Threshold, I mean, this is such a bleak story, especially with the ending, right?
Yeah.
And Larfleeze.
Oh, yeah. Should we get into this?
Let's get this out of the way, and we'll come back and talk about some fun stuff.
So yeah, kids. Threshold 5 through 8. What's his face? Call finally got his lantern ring back.
Okay, you know what this reminds me of? I finally just clicked with me. Do you remember the 5 years later Legion that Giffen did?
Yes.
This has very much a similar vibe and feel to that series, at least to me.
Well, we were ripping off a bunch of things. Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, because the art was very busy, you know, in these issues. And, you know, I get that that's a stylistic choice, but it often made it hard to decipher a page, at least for me. But I have a definite bias toward clean storytelling, right? You know, not so that's just me. You can chalk that up to, you know, my preferences. But, you know, a lot of that Giffen 5 years later Legion was also pretty bleak as well, you know? So yeah, this reminded me a lot of that. I mean, and Giffen, his I mean, obviously comedic genius at times. I mean, you look at Justice League, you look at, you know, Ambush Bug, you look at all these things that he's, you know, done over his long career. And it's, yeah, because this is just, there's no hope here. This is just, ugh. Sorry. All right. I think I've vented enough on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, just oh god, Yeah, and then of course first we brought in Blue Beetle, then we're bringing in Brainiac to try to save this thing.
Yeah. And then he gets his ring. I'm sorry, he gets his battery, so he gets
Yeah,
his power back.
because his ring was buried in his chest. Is that it?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But then he goes back to wanting to do that anyway. So he gets his ring put back in his chest, right? And then he gets shot.
Yeah, I was a little confused. So did they program him or something? Where it's just because it was basically set up as a reality show, but they were like, I guess, rebooting or whatever, and
I
he was
don't know. There's probably some meta commentary going on about
I
reboots.
think there was like about reality TV and stuff, but I was just like, okay, well, did they wipe his memories or something and throw him back in, or
And then doesn't he get shot in the Star Hawkins? Because it wasn't one of the backup stories, a Star Hawkins backup story.
yeah, well, everyone except for issue 5, 6 through 8 was the Star Hawkins backup. Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
At the end of like the main story, didn't they meet up? Like, yeah, it's
I don't know. It was.
Star Hawkins was like a reporter or something. Yeah, because like at the end of 5, I'm like, I know they were starting a Larfleeze series, but I'm just like, that's like
That's
the
it.
best thing about the book. Don't be taking that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we get. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Unless do you think that the Threshold series was like a tryout? Be like, okay, Larfleeze or the Hunted are getting their own book. Who and then people probably rave. I mean, not that it was a perfect story, but people were probably raving about Larfleeze more than the Hunted. So
I think so. I mean, and maybe it was. I mean, it was an 8-issue series, so maybe it was a tryout for. I mean, because he brought in Captain Carrot, he brought in Star Hawkins, he brought in Tommy Tomorrow, whatever. I don't even. He brought in all of these older, 60s and 70s sci-fi characters, and then
Star Hawkins wasn't Quasar his dad? What the
yeah.
heck?
And change them beyond recognition, at least at least from my point of view. So,
New 52.
but yeah, we get a Larfleeze series out of this, and I think the Larfleeze series goes 12 issues. Is that right?
Yep, that's what we're doing the next 2 weeks. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the
I was wondering because I just looked because I was curious. Keith Giffen does write that, so
yeah. So hopefully that'll have. But again, we've talked about Larfleeze as comedic,
mm-hmm.
For comedic effect, but Larfleeze should be terrifying. I mean, he's
All right. And again, it's New 52, but tell me if you think this is somewhat out of character. Like they reveal, all these ring constructs of his are, basically going against him, and it turns out Said put this like post-hypnotic suggestion in his head before her death. I'm like, it just seemed kind of overly mean, and she was like one of the 2 good guardians we had until
because I was hoping this would explain why she's not dead at
yeah.
the end of Wrath of the First Lantern, but no, she's just not dead. But wait, yeah, I mean, so I had hopes for this, and they weren't fulfilled.
No. I'm just like, it just seems overly mean and nasty for Sade,
Yeah.
Oh, if I die, you're gonna get punished. It's like, what?
Oh, the Guardians,
Because I guess because she was held prisoner, but I'm just like, yeah, I know she is a guardian, but I was just like, when she was with him, it didn't seem like she was just like, oh, this poor creature or whatever. But now,
But she got over that real fast and then decided to torture him. So, rock on. New 52.
New 52, the headquarters of On Point character.
Yeah. So, yeah, very disappointed in Threshold. It was, and I would be partially curious to find out if everyone was as disappointed as I was. I mean,
Well, Will, was there a new 52 right now? No.
so there's no new 52 and there's no continuation of this series. So most people were probably at least as disappointed, close to as disappointed as I was, I guess. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say it this way: this series was definitely not for me.
Me
Definitely
too.
not for me. But and I get the feeling that a lot of the new 52 really isn't for me,
I don't think it wasn't for longtime fans. I think they thought they were going to get all these new readers in with this, but then meanwhile, it's just like I don't think the new readers came in, and the old. I've heard from a few old fans. They were like, "Yeah, it was a great jumping off point for me."
Exactly. I've heard that too. Yeah, it's a great jumping off point. I'm done. Yeah. So yeah, that's new 52 and Threshold.
Oh
Yeah.
my Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm just like I think they were trying the two stories. They're like, okay, which one do you want to be ongoing? And
Larfleeze won.
I'm sure not that his characterization was on point, but
No.
and again,
You know,
but again, maybe it's too because Larfleeze was a known character. The Hunted, it's just like we've seen these guys once before, and if the rating's not that, it's just
yeah, exactly. So
because the ending
yeah.
the ending was so weird too. Which again, by that point, they probably knew they weren't going forward. But like you said, the bleak ending, and it was just like, okay, so
Yeah,
what, this guy's just
that's
going to repeat this cycle over and over, or
just reruns, right? We don't do we're just rebooting. It's the same old all over again.
a never-ending
Whatever.
cycle, cycle of pain and violence. Well, I guess
Sounds like the new 52.
in reality TV.
Yeah. Never-ending cycle of
Oh, I guess
pain.
I mean, you have a point. I guess they were on brand. New 52,
Yeah.
never-ending suffering.
Yeah, definitely. Ah, okay, enough about Threshold. So what else we got going on, Phil?
Goodbye. I don't know. I don't think
We had those two stories on Bleeding Cool about the Green Lantern show, which we talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, the new issue of Green Lantern came out, right?
Uh,
Last week, I think.
bu- bu- bu-
Yeah,
bu-
you said there's some spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned there's some spoilers in there, so
Yes.
cool. Let's see. Oh, when was you've been reading, I've got Justice League here, but I've not read them yet. How has Carol's appearances been in Justice League? I mean, I'm sure I think you're caught up, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's been doing good so far, but again, it's a lot of basically Wade pull pretty much from the whole DC universe almost. So yeah, there's been a lot of characters coming in and out. So, but yeah,
Cool.
I mean, the time she's been on there. Oh God, was she the first big mission they had? I mean, she's been doing good. So it's it's not like they're. It's like, oh, she's the rookie. She messes up. No, they're not doing any of that. So
Awesome.
and
That's
again,
good.
it's late. Of course, it is. Oh, did you see? I guess what I don't know if it's setting up the next big like crossover, or whatever. But Wade's doing like a little mini crossover here soon. Was it Yesterday's Heroes or something with the Justice League book and Batman Superman World's Finest?
No, I did not hear about that.
So I don't know if it's like, oh, here's something that happened in the past and they're going to go into it later, or is it going to be like a time travel story?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll have to look for that one then. Awesome.
Mhm.
Oh, Absolute Green Lantern, I think,
Not out
hits.
yet. I think it's April, maybe.
Yeah, hits in a couple of weeks, maybe
Yeah.
2 or 3. I think there's a preview or something of it, but
But
I
out
think
yet.
if
Yeah.
I think it's treated kind of almost like a horror book.
Yeah, it's Al Ewing who writes horror
Mhm.
pretty good. So
Yeah, because his Immortal Hulk was really, really good.
yeah, and he's been writing Venom for a while. He's like on his second Venom series now. Yeah, I know he does some good Venom. Yeah.
Hmm. Cool. So Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern Dark,
Mm-hmm.
and Absolute Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
No.
We got 4 books.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, we don't have a Kyle Solo book. We have a pseudo John Solo book because he's in Green Lantern Corps
Mm-hmm.
along with Guy, right?
Yeah, they really been doing a ton with Guy in there, but I would assume the closer we get to summer, the
The old Guy stuff will get ramped up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, kids, if you haven't heard, anyone who has a movie coming out this year, they're pretty much getting rebooted to a number one. Like I think Superman's getting rebooted to a number one, Fantastic Four is getting a new number one I just saw. So
Yeah, I'd hate to have a large number, on a book that shows it's been around for a very long time because that would just be horrible, wouldn't it?
yeah, I know. Yeah. And it wouldn't confuse the reader at all.
Yeah, exactly. We're on volume what? Wait, which volume? Wait, when did this one come out? When did?
And again, they're household names. People know Superman's been around forever. People know Fantastic Four been around forever.
Yeah. Oh, I have been meaning to ask you about something else. About our a certain friend's favorite character.
Oh, okay. I know. Oh, okay. So yes, someone's paying attention now.
Oh, baby.
My favorite character.
I've read about the sequel to Hush coming out.
Yes, it's coming here soon. Next issue of Batman that comes out. Yeah, it's going to be the sequel. Yeah.
I'm somewhat interested in that because I remember buying Hush off the stands when it was coming out.
Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee. So yeah, so I mean that's probably going to sell some units because the Jim Lee art. I think people have heard of him.
Yeah, who? I don't know. Yeah. Didn't he do X-Men or something? I don't remember.
Among other things, yes.
Among a ton of other things. He's
Exactly.
he's freaking Jim Lee. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Hold on, give me a moment and I'll tell you because it's going to be Batman 158. And I think they said after Hush 2, Batman's also getting a new number one.
Of course.
Which I would assume would predicate Nightwing getting rebooted because Nightwing's up around 124 just came out, so I don't think they're going to be like, oh, Batman's at number one and Nightwing's at like 125 or yeah, I don't think that's
yeah.
All right, Batman 158. Oh, this this coming week I believe.
Nice, very nice. I'll have to pick that up. That's cool. Very cool.
That's right, kids. Look for that cover.
Hush 2.
So yeah, so we're in for some new and again they use so much of like Jim Lee's art from the first Hush on stuff, so we're gonna
That's that image of him on the gargoyle. I mean, geez, that's everywhere. That's on posters, that's on
or there's like the one cover with him and Nightwing like running over a rooftop. That's I know they put that on a bunch of merch and stuff. Yeah. Or him and Catwoman kissing on the rooftop or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Jim Lee guy can kind of draw. I don't know,
I hope he gets I hope he gets a piece of that stuff because
yeah. I would I know he doesn't need to do it. I don't even know if he wants to do it, but man, I would love to see more art by him on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, imagine him on like even just like a guest arc on Green Lantern or something.
Oh yeah. That would be nice. That would be nice.
I think pretty much if Jim Lee, like you said, Jim Lee probably doesn't have to do it, but he could probably march into DC or Marvel and just be like, I want to draw this book. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. When would you like to start, sir?
We would like you to start 2 weeks ago, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm.
Anything else on Green Lantern front? We know Absolute will be coming out soon-ish.
Yeah. Oh, My Adventures with Green Lantern. That we already mentioned that animated series is coming.
Yeah, that's coming. That'll probably be later this year or maybe around the time of the series. I guess we'll see, right? We don't know. So lots of I meant the Lantern show is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of cool stuff with Green Lantern going on right now.
Yeah, like you were saying, we're gonna be up to 4 books. I mean, I get however long Green Lantern Dark lasts, but yeah, a live action show, a new animated show. Yeah.
Yep, I think we're approaching. I mean, we're approaching. That zeitgeist of 4 books a month that New 52 started with, right?
All right, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we're in for an embarrassment of riches. Meanwhile, Threshold is just an embarrassment.
Nice. That is true. That is true. And whose riches are they, Phil?
Mine.
There you go.
All right. All right, William. Anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to not talking about Threshold
Ever again. Sorry, I was going to say, unless someone brings it up, people are like, yeah, I read it, but who's going to bring it up, please?
No, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I mean, the only time I expect to hear about Threshold for the rest of my life is when we go, oh my God, this is almost as bad as Threshold.
Exactly. We're the only ones that are going to talk about it. Yeah. What are we talking about, Phil? It's almost like we're going to be talking about issues of Threshold or something.
All right. But yeah, like I said, the next 2 weeks, we're going to be covering that 12-issue Larfleeze series. So yes, of course, next time we're going to do Larfleeze 1 through 6. And then in 2 weeks, Larfleeze 7 through 12. And then the week after that, we're going to get back to Red Lanterns 25 through 27. So
I'm excited about that, actually.
I'm excited to get past anything that's not Threshold.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, I think now that we're past the crossover, yeah, Red Lantern's going to be ramping up too. So
yeah, because I know, was it just a single issue of Supergirl, or was it multiple issues of Supergirl that kind of cross over with Red Lantern?
I just closed I think it's multiple, and then she shows
I think it is too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard of the mix. So, all right, kids. So, yeah. Oh, did another thing here. All right. So yeah, send us your thought. If you have thoughts on Threshold, if you know what Threshold is, yeah, send us your thoughts.
Oh, also one last thing. Red Lantern's Omnibus will be coming out soon.
Oh. What are
I think
is that the whole series?
I think so. Hang on a second. I'll look it up real quick while we're.
All right. So yeah. So while he's looking that up, kids, yes, send us your thoughts as upcoming stuff too. Yeah, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can pretty much catch any episode of ours at CapesLunatics.wordpress.com. Help support us with merch from TeePublic and Spring. And of course, Rain ran the money on us through the Cash App link. If you think Threshold was about to kill you, you don't want to get a little its bad side. So I guess Rain ran the money on us through the Cash App link.
Make it rain.
And of course, the Patreon, where again you get exclusive, uncensored content every month. And when you are a subscriber, you get to suggest topics for us to discuss. So yes, please subscribe at patreon.com/CapesandLunatics.
More vicious and brutal than ever.
All right, William.
All right. I found it. It looks like it's going to collect 0 through 27 and 29 through 40. Stormwatch 9, Supergirl 31, Green Lantern, Red Lanterns 28, the flip bookie stuff.
Yeah.
Green Lantern Annual 2, Red Lanterns Annual number 1, and Red Lanterns Futures End number 1 should be coming out in June. June 10th, I think, is when it's scheduled.
Yeah, unless I missed something. Yeah, that sounds like pretty much all the new 52 Red Lantern stuff.
I think so, yeah.
All right, kids. But if you want to read some good comic books, we'll stay tuned here because we're going to Talk to this Mr. Will Allred, master of the core, master of the quantum zone, master of podcasting, and picking bad stories, and of course, has several successful Kickstarter campaigns under his belt. Mr. Will, tell them where they can find.
Well, you can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail and on Blue Sky and Facebook and other places that I probably don't even remember setting up. But if you want to read some the comics that I write, Crossover Division is you can go to crossoverdivision.com. I've got a tentative launch date of May 1st for Crossover Division number 6 on Kickstarter. We've published 5 individual issues and a hardcover that collects the first 4, so you can check that out again at crossoverdivision.com. An older book that I've written is Diary of Night. You can check that out at diaryofnight.com. And obviously you've got great taste because you're here hanging out with Phil and I talking about Green Lantern, which means you probably love Marvel's Quasar almost as much as we do. And if you'd like to find out more about Quasar, you can do that at the Quantum Zone, quantumzone.org.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party.
Hmm.
Seems like I'm getting a package every other day. I am God. He goes limp in my grip. They aren't even attempting to enter our orifices.
Gotta love those read-throughs.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
No matter how bad
I do.
Oh my. All right, kids. Again, the threshold is ended. You can breathe again.
Thank goodness.
Yes. Next time, Larfleeze 1 through 6. Then in 2 weeks, 7 through 12. So hopefully, well, I think there's nowhere to go but up from here. So
The New 52, what did you call it? A cycle of never-ending cycle of pain.
oh. All right, kids, come back next time, and remember, no need for a dominatrix. We'll torture you for free. Good night.